Hello, hello, hello. It's Stephanie here from HMO Heaven again. Delighted to be with you as always. And today we are talking about the 5 must-haves for a well-managed HMO to make sure that your HMO investment delivers for you month after month and year after year consistently in the long term and not just in the short term. Last week I talked about the things to look at when you're buying an HMO and what type of property to buy to make sure that you have the best chance of having that long-term consistency. But if you think about the process, the part where you're buying and refurbing is very short, and the part where you're managing your property to deliver your return is very long. So it's very important to get this part right. Otherwise, you can wash all of that investment down the drain. This is the HMO Tips series. This is the HMO Tips series even, where we show you the behind the scenes in our business and the little things that have the big impact and everything that we use in our business to keep it running smoothly. These are the 5 key things that you need to have in place. Let's dive in. Number 1, this week is all about finding good tenants. And in the weeks to follow, I'll be giving you the other 4 must-haves. Finding good tenants is so important because it can be an absolute nightmare if you have the wrong tenants or bad tenants who damage your property or destroy your property or don't pay their rent or annoy or irritate your other tenants. Any of those are going to be really hard for you and for the people, for your other customers, for the housemates who share with this rogue tenant. So I'm just going to share with you the 5 red flags that we found over the years. And I'm not saying anybody who has any of these things is a bad person. But when they all cluster together, we find that these, let's just say, proceed with caution. If somebody had all 5, that would be a proceed with caution. Okay, so the first one is that if a tenant tries to put you under time pressure to move in really quickly and pay cash. So, for example, we've had calls where they say, I need to move in today, I've been kicked out, I need to move today, I've got cash, can I move in? That's such a red flag. People who find themselves in a situation where there's nothing else for them, and often there are other opportunities, because if you didn't exist, they would find something. But it's just that this doesn't usually bode well. It's a sort of chaotic lifestyle that goes in with not taking responsibility, and I'm second guessing myself as I'm saying this, saying, well, people might need to move fast. But you know yourself, when you've been in the situation where you need to move, you plan ahead. And the times where you do find yourself shortchanged, you can take interim steps such as staying in Airbnb or other things. But I think sometimes people are doing this so that they don't have to go through the vetting process, and not really because they absolutely have to move that day. They just want to get into the property because once they're in the property, they know the rules and that they will be protected to stay in there even if they don't pay their rent. The second red flag is if getting all the onboarding information and information about themselves is time consuming and difficult. What we found is that we've had 3 tenants, well, say 2.5 tenants who've not been great, and all of them had this. Took them a long time to send their information in. We had to keep chasing them. And when we did get it, it wasn't right. There were part of it were covered up. And the next one is, and this one I think is important, is if they expect you to pay their rent for them. And you might think nobody would ever say that, but people do actually. And how it happens is this. Say, for example, somebody's due to be moving in on the 1st of July, or that's when the room becomes available, and they don't get paid until the 28th of July. Now, what they might say to you is, can I move in on the 1st of July and and pay you the rent, after I get paid, and also I'll pay the deposit then. So they might want to pay some of it, but they'll want to leave some of it until when they get paid. And that kind of sounds kind of reasonable, doesn't it? It kind of sounds fair. But what's wrong with it is that the values underneath it are that you should subsidise, that they shouldn't be responsible for their rent. What another person would do, and what people have done, is said, okay, so the room is available on the 1st of July. I actually get paid on the 28th of July. Is it possible for me to move in after that? And I'm more than happy to negotiate with somebody who says that to see if we can find something that can work for both parties. But when somebody shows me that they feel that it's our responsibility as a total stranger to subsidise their rent, that is a red flag. And we haven't taken anyone on that basis, but we know of many other people who have, and have lived to regret it. The next one is if they need a guarantor and they're young and their parents refuse. So their guarantor is a sibling or friend. Now, what we found with this one is, and we have experienced this one twice, is that the parents, we find out later, are still in touch with the person, the young person, but they've refused to offer any more personal guarantees because they've been let down so many times in the past. So, okay, I know that people may not have a good relationship with their parents or whatever. They might not be available as a guarantor, but in many cases they've been burned in the past. So it's just something to look into further. I'm just raising it as a possible issue, so look into that if that comes up on your radar. And the last one is that 2 of our bad tenants again didn't have, in fact all 3 didn't have a previous landlord reference. And there can be lots of reasons for that. They could have been living at home. They claimed they were living at home and actually they weren't. They could have been living at home. They could have had their own place and been in a relationship, but that relationship's ended, so they're now looking for somewhere to live. So there's lots of reasons why somebody legitimately might not have a landlord reference. But I'm just saying that when these all cluster together and there are 3 or more of them, then that definitely is a sign that maybe this isn't going to be a great tenant for you. So I hope you found that useful, guys. Let me know what you think. What are your red flags? Do you think I'm way off the mark or prejudging people? Let me know in the comments. I would love to know, good or bad. Tell me what you think. And our little bonus one is look at how people are on the viewings. When Luke does the viewings, we really encourage him, just pick up on how people are with you. Are they polite, friendly and pleasant with you? Or are they sort of disinterested, rude, unreliable? Were they very late and didn't let you know, and then didn't apologise when they arrived? So we're not expecting people to be perfect, but people do show you who they are when you meet them. So it's very important to be open to that and just pick up on, is this a pleasant person? Do I want to have a relationship for the next 6 months and possibly much longer with this person? And it's those things to take into account when you're choosing a tenant, because even more than in single lets, it can be so difficult to have, a bad apple in the barrel. So my dears, that's it for this week's. If you want more of these and you want to see the other 4 must-haves for a well-managed HMO, then join us again next week. And also you can check out our HMO tips playlist on YouTube. And if you're an HMO enthusiast, a property investor, do join us over at HMO Heroes on Facebook. We would love to see you there and say hello. Okay, so that's it for today. Remember, please do give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And guys, I will see you next week. Bye for now.